everybody. I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Believe in Colts podcast.
Welcome back to Believe in Colts. I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is my guy, Donald Thomas. And this episode is obviously our prediction show, NFL prediction. We got week 7 coming up. Obviously, we're not going to be talking about the Colts and the Browns. If you want to see that episode, go check out the one that I just posted previously with Quincy Carrier. Great show. Got to learn a lot about the Browns and our predictions in that game. Donald, crazy week last week in the NFL. This week is going to be a little bit interesting. We're going to be looking at the very first game coming up tonight. We're going to get through this quickly, short and sweet, as you got some stuff to do here shortly. So we have the Jacksonville Jaguars facing the New Orleans Saints on Thursday night tonight, as we're recording in New Orleans.
Yes.
How do you see this going?
I'm leaning towards New Orleans in this game, actually. I know that they are considered the favorites, not by much, but I'm considering to be a favorite by a little bit more. I think that, Tyler Lawrence here is going to be hobbled, and first time he might miss a game. I think he's going to try to fight through it, but if he tries to fight through it, he will not be effective with that short turnaround of playing on Sunday to playing on Thursday. I feel like, New Orleans just has the edge a little bit on them on offensively, that side of the football. And so I'm going New Orleans by a score or more in this game.
Okay. All right.
Trevor Lawrence. I said Tyler Lawrence.
Trevor. It's all good. It's all good. I kind of agree with you on the whole short turnaround. Usually that favors the team that doesn't, is at home. And then, of course, you talk about, Trevor Lawrence, being hobbled in the game against the Indianapolis Colts. That's a problem, right? But I got a feeling they'll probably lean a lot on Travis Etienne in the run game. Colts held him down somewhat in the game that they had, but for the most part, earlier in the year, he's been looking better and better and better right up until he faced the Indianapolis Colts. I think this is going to be a tight game. It'll be a 3-point game. I'm going to lean with the home team with you on this one. So I agree with you on that. BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use a mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember, use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. But the next game that we're going to come up against is at 1:00 on Sunday, and it's going to be interesting. I know you're not a big fan of the Ravens, but they're sitting at 4-2, and they're hosting the 5-1 Detroit Lions.
Yeah, so I think, in my opinion, the Lions are the hottest team in football right now. It's not, San Francisco. It's not, Philly. It's not Miami Dolphins. I think that Detroit, for what they're doing and for what it's worth, this is the hottest team in football. And I see Detroit going to Baltimore and really exposing, that Baltimore offense that I feel like is just one-sided here with, just Lamar Jackson running the show. I think Dan Campbell does a good job of having those guys juiced up and containing Lamar. And I really see, Detroit coming and shocking, Baltimore. Here's the thing real quick with Detroit. Detroit's wins outside of the division have to be impressive for us to really take them seriously because their division is god-awful. And so, if you beat Minnesota, who cares? If you beat Chicago, no one absolutely cares at all. And then Green Bay is just as weak as the other two that I just named. So, in my opinion, Detroit has a lot to prove, and I think they understand that when they leave, the NFC North, what they have to do. And so, I think this is going to be a game where they're really going to shock the world here, and I think they're going to win by 10 or more.
Wow. Well, one thing I can say about the Baltimore Ravens is they've so far this year, the teams that have beat them because they have out-physicaled them, right? In the run game and in defense, they've played more physical. And I don't know, there's a team out there that is coached to play more physical than Dan Campbell's Detroit Lions right now, right? They are trained to play as physical as you possibly can. So, yes, I believe that the Baltimore Ravens do have a struggle ahead of them, even though they are at home. This is a situation where the Ravens have to, in order for them to win, they have to get back to their traditional ground and pound, just be tougher than their opponent. And I don't know if they can do that. I don't think this is a game that they can do that against. Aiden is going to be one of those guys. Aiden Hutchinson, he was held out a little bit this past week, but I think he's going to have a big comeback against a Baltimore Ravens offensive line that just has not been playing up to par for Baltimore. I got this. I think Baltimore loses this one by a touchdown. That's how I'm looking at it. So
okay,
I agree with you on that aspect. Next game, 1:00. We got the Raiders heading to Chicago.
Raiders. Taking the Raiders by a score or more. Here, Chicago is who Chicago is always going to be, and who we thought they were, and besides that one win, the spirited win they've had so far this year, they've been the Chicago Bears, the bad news Bears. I see. Honestly, I don't see Las Vegas coming into Chicago and losing this game. I think that overall across the board, the Raiders have a better team. They're still a middle of the road team, in my opinion, when it comes to stacking them up against everyone else in the NFL. But, I think Jimmy G, I think he pulls one out here. I think, honestly, Max Crosby is a game changer. I mean, he's one of those guys that, honestly, he's played at a very high level for defensive ends this year. And it's scary sometimes if you really watch him and the matchups that he's had. He's changed the game. He's made quarterbacks have to rush and throw the football. And I don't see this being anything different this week. Because I don't know, I don't even know, are they all the way healthy at quarterback? Is Fields playing this week? Because it really doesn't matter at this point if Fields is in the lineup or not. But I really see Las Vegas by 7 or more in this game.
I think this is going to be an interesting game. It's not going to be a game that you're going to be like, ooh, wow, because honestly, I'm not as bad as the Bears offense and defense is. I mean, Vegas's offense has not been all that pretty either. Right. I mean, their defense has been okay, but their offense has not been pretty. So you're not expecting points in this game. I see this as like a 9-12 game, right? What I'm looking at this point. And depending upon if Fields plays, because if Fields plays, then maybe they can, get a little bit out of the run game with his scrambling and, just let him loose, let him play his game. Don't try to force him to be something he's not, right? Don't force him to be a pocket quarterback because that's not his style of play. But you're right. Max Crosby is a beast, has been a beast for the last few years. His pressure rate is ridiculous and has been. You could double team him and he still finds ways. He'll stunt right out of one of those, no problem. If you try to double team him too much. So, yeah, I agree that, I'm going to go with the Raiders, but again, I could see this as a 12-9 game with the Raiders winning. Is nothing that anybody's really going to be interested in watching because it's not going to be like great defensive play. It's just going to be that poor of offensive play, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is. You're right about that. I think that, at the end of the day, Chicago's a team that, really kind of self-sabotages themselves, and they'll do the same thing this week as well.
Next game on the list, as we're skipping the Browns and Colts, as I said earlier, it's going to be the Buffalo Bills traveling to Foxboro to face the New England Patriots. And we don't even know who's the quarterback going to be at the New England Patriots.
This is it's very interesting to see the paradigm shift in these divisions now and who's the top dog. And it's a toss-up between Miami and Buffalo, in my opinion. And I'm kind of going to have to give the edge to Miami right now with that high-octane offense. And, the Bills have looked shaky at times, and the Bills have those two losses that they have has been, games that they should have won. So with that being said, the Patriots are terrible this year. I think they're in complete disarray. They don't know who the quarterback is. The Bills are more of a team that's, trending in the right direction, in my opinion, although they do show signs when they just like, what is going on with you guys right now?
I mean, their last game.
Yeah, like right. I mean, incredible. So you kind of don't know what Bills team you're going to get. I think they have a lot of internal problems. I think they have a couple of head cases with, we'll say Diggs, with him being throwing temper tantrums on the sideline is not good for any team or any locker room. I think that there's questions on who gets the ball, when and why and where. But this is going to be a game that's not going to be close. I think New England's going to get beat by 14 or more in this game, and I think that's an understatement considering that they've been dubbed already, right? They've been goose-egged 34-0. I don't. Hopefully that won't happen again. But at the end of the day, who am I to judge? But this is game. There's a 14-point game in favor of Buffalo.
I don't think it's going to be a goose egg. It is in Foxboro, so that does make a difference right there. Playing in Foxboro as opposed to playing in Buffalo. But I still don't think that they have anything between the injuries they have on defense and how the offense is playing. I can't see the New England Patriots pulling off a win. But again, like we said, this past week, the Giants, and Buffalo, that was a game that could have went either way at the end, right? So you could have another game like that, but I just don't see it. I don't see Buffalo having another one of those games back to back, right? I think they get back on track. I think you're right. I think this is going to be a 14-plus point blowout. And I'm not even going to put up points because I don't know how many points New England will put up because I don't even know who the quarterback's going to be. It's just weird in that situation. Next game, we got the 1-5 Giants hosting the 3-3 Commanders.
Oh, well, my gut tells me to kind of go with the Commanders here. But the Giants in Washington matchup has always been a classic matchup. The only thing that kind of derails that for me on this is that, Daniel Jones having that injury. And so I have to lean towards giving, the Commanders the edge on this one, even though it kind of pains me because I really feel like this has always been a classic matchup. But I'm going to go with Commanders, and I'm going to go by 4 points.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
4 points. That's interesting because, all right, so I'm going to go with the Giants. I think the Giants win this game. I think they win it by a touchdown. I think Tyrod Taylor's a good quarterback when he comes in for short periods of time.
But him starting this game off.
Yeah.
Right. Tyrod, and don't listen, granted, you have any quarterback that stays in the league as a backup that was once a starter for this long, like you have to respect it. Right. And I respect Tyrod Taylor and what he did last week when he came in, but then there's just those 1 or 2 instances of why he's not a starter.
Oh, yeah.
He makes those decisions and they're bad decisions. Right. And so it's just like last week, it was one of those deals where it's like, you just got to make the right decision. You've been in it all game, and then you kind of just make a bonehead play. And I think that him starting off, it's a big ask. It's a really big ask when you ask a guy to come in and he's juiced up and he wants to show everyone that he's the guy and that he can still play in this game. And so I just feel like when you bundle all that together, I think Washington gets him here. But here's the thing, though, right, which I'm not completely sold on. We're not sold on Washington and Howell.
Mm-hmm.
I think Washington still needs to find a quarterback as well, and they know it. And this is just
they should have kept Heineke, in my opinion.
I think that's everyone's opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like what did he do to deserve to not have the starting role right now, right? He was not that bad. You guys weren't in contention to win anything anyway. Deal with that and then try to find a quarterback in the draft. But, Howell's just, in my opinion, he's middle of the pack, and so I don't know, man. This is a toss-up, but I'm still going to go lean with the Commanders here.
I'm going with the Giants because there's not a lot of film on Tyrod with the Giants in this offense with those players. So I mean, yes, there's an enormous amount on Tyrod, all the way back
Previous
to when he
years,
was
right?
with the Bills, right?
Right.
So, but this is a different situation. This is a Dayball offense, and the different players around them, different stuff. So we'll see what happens. In order to win this game, Washington has to be able to get pressure, and a lot of teams do get pressure on the Giants' offensive line. We'll give you that.
So I saw a meme on social media. It said that every team from here on out has to count 7 Mississippis before they rush when you're playing the Giants. So
Right.
I mean, like literally, like back in the day when we're playing, 2-hand touch, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. So that's their problem too, man. Their problem is up front. I mean, I didn't want to go into a whole Giants preview, but if you want to talk about it, why I think they really lose this game is not just the quarterback play. It really comes down to like fixing these holes in the offensive line. Goodness gracious. Like,
I mean, they do have 2 starters injured. I mean, Andrew Thomas being injured is a big hurt, right?
Yeah, don't put, here's the thing, man. Don't get me started on that. Like, I get it, guys. It's the name of the game. Like, you're not going to have an offensive line that plays all five guys every single snap all year. It's just virtually impossible. So here's the deal. Like, guys got to step up and play. And like, early in the season, their O-line didn't look good. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I mean, when they played, was it Seattle? It was a freaking sack frenzy. Like, it was disgusting. So bookends, those offensive tackles have been pedestrian at best. Interior wise has not been any better. And there's a reason why Daniel Jones is beat up the way he is. It's a culmination of all these hits to take one hit. Now his neck's all hurt. How bad is his neck really hurt? He might just be tired of getting beat up, right? Like, people want to throw Daniel Jones under the bus of not making good decisions of football. But imagine if you got, 5 guys running down your throat every single play, and you're fighting for your life. And you're at this point, you're having PTSD at night, waking up because you think you're about to get hit, and you're okay, I'm out.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So let's let's understand like what's going on. And their offensive line is bad, man. Bad.
Yeah, it is bad. I like their defense though. I do like the guys on that Giants defense just needed to start playing together, between Williams and Dexter Lawrence, and now Bobby Okereke is over there, and he played very good.
The past couple of weeks he's been making some serious plays over there. You see him, you hear his name being called, you see him making plays. I mean, it almost makes me wish he was still, in Indianapolis, because
I think most Colts fans feel that way.
Yeah, that was a surprise to me that when they let him get away in free agency, I'm like, you're not going to pay this dude?
I understand. I wish they could have, but how do you say you're going to give him you're going to pay $30 million on 2 linebackers?
Well, no, you can't. But you waste all your money on Darius Leonard.
I get that.
And so we won't even go and we won't even get into that. But I said wasted.
I get that, but they already put their eggs in a basket, and they had to go.
And that's how the game goes, right? I mean, you reward somebody who showed promise and played well for a year or two for you, and then you the guy coming up behind that kind of gets shafted in the whole mix of it, because he realizes the money's been allocated to someone else, and just the name of the game, right? It's a gamble, but hey, it is what it is. So
yeah, it is. Next game on the list, I don't know if I said. I am pretty sure I said that the Giants. I think the Giants win. And you got the Commanders, so we're separate on that.
Hold on.
You got to write that one down.
Write that one down. Anytime you go against me, I'm writing it down. All right. Who's next?
Atlanta Falcons go to Tampa, face the Bucks.
Yes. This is a close game. This is a very close game. But once again, my guy, who I've been talking about since he got in the NFL, that just been having a bad deal with situations and places he's been, is Baker Mayfield. All right. He's going to show up. They're at home. I'm not, Atlanta, they don't have a quarterback yet. Ritter is not the guy. I mean, listen, 3-3 is mediocre. Not saying 3-2 is any better by Tampa Bay, but I'm just going to have to go with Tampa Bay in this game. I think they have the better offense, the better run game. But hold on. They do have a very, very, very electric guy in Atlanta. Okay, so I saw you make that face. I don't know. But so and Robinson is probably if he stays healthy, he's going to be he will be a top 3 running back for a long time to come. But here's the deal. I think experience-wise, I think depth-wise, I think defensively, Tampa Bay has the edge on Atlanta, and I think that Tampa Bay pulls it out. It's a one-score game, 7 points.
I think Tampa Bay wins as well. It really depends upon whether Baker is able to hold back his occasional turnovers issue. If he's able to hold that back, they win by 2 scores or more, in my opinion. Look, Atlanta, their 3 wins haven't been all that impressive. One of them was. But the other 2 against teams, the Bucks have actually won games against impressive wins and surprising wins at times. If Baker can limit the turnovers, then they win by 2 scores. If not, I can see this as just a 1-score win. Yes. First 4:00 game on the docket. We got the Steelers, who are 3-2, amazingly, going up against, and we say that every stinking year about a Mike Tomlin team. Every year they're in the playoff conversation. Every year we're like, how?
Yes.
It's the defense. I'm just straight up.
Yeah.
And they're traveling to the Rams.
Yep. All right. Well, let's start here. You can't count out a Mike Tomlin team because Mike Tomlin is an exceptional coach that when he is given, lemons, he'll make lemonade out of it. At the beginning of the season, I kind of felt bad for Mike Tomlin in a sense because I'm like, golly, his quarterback is pedestrian at best. His offensive line is not the offensive line he used to have. His defensive line is definitely not. He lost Hayward in the beginning, week 1. Secondaries had holes in it. They've been getting burnt up top a lot. And then look at them now. They're back in contention at 3-2, and they've been playing well the past couple of weeks, and they look really good when they went and beat Baltimore. So LA is just I just can't figure out LA right now. I just cannot figure them out. I don't know if they're a good team or if they're just a middle of the pack team. I'm just gonna say Nakua because I keep messing it up.
Nakua.
Puka. I almost said Pika. So Puka Nakua is probably questionably or arguably, right now, if the season ended right now, he's rookie of the year, in my opinion, right? But arguably, right, because there's some guys playing very well, quarterback down in Houston, that are as advertised as they were. But I think if you look at it at a dark horse, that you didn't expect anything from, right? At best, you probably thought he was going to be a special teams guy. Puka's definitely stepped up. God, this is tough. At home, LA, I'm factoring all this in, right, from a player standpoint. At home in LA, Pittsburgh's got to go out to LA. They got to get adjusted to the time difference. They got, they're going from crappy weather to some nice weather. They might be a little bit giddy about that. I'm going to say LA wins this game. And I'm going to give it to them. It's a close game. It's a 3-point game. It's a 3-point game. I'm going with LA. Go ahead. I'm getting ready to write your response down too.
I got LA winning. I got LA winning by 10 plus.
Ooh, okay.
Look, you talked about it earlier about the secondary of Pittsburgh. I have no faith in Pittsburgh's offense at all. At all. I'm like, okay, is it Pittsburgh's offense or is it Chicago's offense? I can't tell. So that's a problem. Their secondary has played well, but now they're going up against Puka Nakua and Cooper Kupp, who is now back, right? Yeah. Off of injury. That's going to be very difficult for any secondary, let alone a secondary who's had problems earlier this year. I just look, Matt Stafford, he can play very, very, very good football. He can also, he's kind of Matt at times looks a little like Baker at times when it comes to his decision making, right? When he's under pressure, but at the same time, he's got two very, very good guys that he could throw the football to. I have some faith in this Rams defense to be able to hold a middling offense of Pittsburgh Steelers down. I got 10 points easy at home. Yeah, I got it.
Fair enough.
Next 4:00 game, we got the Arizona. We got the bird game. Arizona going to Seattle.
Seattle takes this game. They win this game by, I'm going to say 14 or more. I don't think it's going to be even close here. I think that, experience beats, the inexperience of quarterback play. Seattle's probably the toughest place to play in the NFL. It's loud. It's
12th man. Yep.
12th man. I mean, I've never played in a louder stadium than that. Kansas City gets rocking too, but they can't hold anything. And when Seattle gets going, it is. I mean, you can't hear anyone screaming in your ear right next to you. So we factor all that in. I think Josh Dobbs is going to be a little bit way over his head here in this game. I think the experience of Geno in that offense, along with a decent defense, they really stick it to him as 14 or better in the favor of Seattle.
I can't disagree with anything you just said. They're going to roll him up in a yoga mat and put him in the corner.
Yeah. I feel like they should just not even – I think they should black that game out and just move on.
Right. And then we could all watch the Packers at Broncos.
Oh, my goodness. Right. I don't know if we're going to get any better, right? I don't know. Here's the deal, right? Oh, Packers, Broncos. Broncos win this game. They get a second win on the year. We want to throw Russell Wilson under the bus, but Russell Wilson hasn't been that bad when you look at quarterback play. He's made some questionable decisions. He's not the Russell Wilson of old, but at the end of the day, I don't see them losing this game to Green Bay, who Green Bay hasn't had a win in a couple weeks, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but they looked decent at the beginning of the season. They've looked like the Bears, in my opinion, just a little bit better than them. I'm going to go Denver by, a touchdown.
So here's the thing. As we all know, with the trade deadline coming up, and we all have heard all the rumors of the Denver Broncos ready to sell just about anybody, right? That they have on their team. That's what the rumors are going around. Right. Jerry Jeudy, guys like that. And
nobody wants him.
Man, I'm going to tell you what. There's a reason why they're sellers at this time.
Right.
Okay. Obviously. And I understand where you're coming from with the Russell Wilson thing. He has played better. He's played head over heels better than what he did last year. That's for sure. Even though they have a 1-5 record, his basic stats, completions, interceptions, touchdowns, they're literally comparable right now to Patrick Mahomes if you look at him stat for stat, which is weird, right? But they can't get any wins. They can't get a bunch. They can't score a whole lot. That's the problem. And the Denver defense has been trash. Okay. So which is one of the bigger surprises on this team is that the Denver defense usually has been pretty good over the last few years. I got Green Bay winning this game. I think they go in there and I think they win barely. I think they barely squeeze a win out. Maybe 4 points. All right.
Making notes. Anytime you go against me, making notes.
All right.
Who we got next? Ooh.
Next two games could be interesting. You might be writing on both of them. We got almost said San Diego.
Always going to be the San Diego Chargers, man.
Heading to KC.
Yes. All right. Here's the deal. Obviously, Kansas City is the favorite to win this football game. Okay.
And in KC, you just got done talking about how they're one of the toughest.
They are. I mean, it's very tough to play in KC. Very tough to play. I think, they've got the 13th man now with, the crowd and Taylor Swift. It's ridiculous. So all this hype around all this nonsense. Hopefully she's not at the games. I'm tired of seeing her. at this point. But here's the deal. I
Oh
think that
no, I mean this year you got Taylor Swift. The last couple of years you had Mahomes as
yeah, I know his wife. She's calmed down tremendously. I think she's finally someone told her calm it down before you mess everything up. So which is I don't get that. But here's the thing: I think this is a very close game. I don't think that Kansas City just runs away from the Rams like that. I think Justin Herbert is playing. I really think he's playing lights out. Their record is not indicative of his play. All right, I'll start there. But he's not. He's been up there. He's a top 10 quarterback in the league. Their record does not reflect that, right? I think that the holes that they have are on defense. I think their defense is what's lacking at this point, even though they have a man-child over there that's playing very, very well at defensive end. I think that they're still struggling a little bit. And so here's the deal. I'm going to give Kansas City the game, right? But 10 points, I don't see them blowing the Chargers out.
KC just traded for McCole Hardman back too as well. So that's an interesting thought process. That gives Patrick Mahomes another deep threat target that he's been missing since Hill was gone.
Yeah.
I honestly felt like the Chargers should have beat the Cowboys from watching that game, even though I picked the Cowboys and I was right. But
hopefully you weren't even going to bring that up, but whatever.
There was times when you were right and I was wrong. Like, it is
enough.
what it is. But here's the deal. I feel like Kansas City is going to make this a statement game. All right. They're going to be at home. They're going up against a divisional rival. Now we've talked about how divisional games can get weird, right? It could, even a lowly team could beat the better team at any time. It is a fact because because divisional teams know each other so well. I just got a feeling that, like you said, the Chargers defense has not been playing that good outside of one or two players. And Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes. Kelsey's going to be playing. They're going to have an extra weapon in McCole Hardman, who's got good, and then they got, is that running a Pinko guy? Is he? I think he's still playing too, right? He's not hurt.
Yeah. No, he's playing.
Okay, so I got KC.
Yeah,
I got KC by 2 scores.
Smart man, very smart man.
Yep. Sunday Night Football, dude.
Best game of the week, best game of the year, in my opinion. We're going to see who is the better offense, and I think that we already know who the better offense is. It's the Miami Dolphins. I think that Philly is going to get embarrassed in this game. That's just my opinion. I think Philly's been hiding behind their defense all year, but I don't see anyone being able to keep up stride for stride with Tyreek Hill, and they have way too many options on offense. Philly has been a team that has not just put their foot on someone and just kept it on their neck. They're a team that's let guys jump ahead of them all year, and they have to fight and claw their way to back in the game or just to scratch and claw to stay in the game. This isn't a game for that. I think, I think Miami understands the severity of the situation. And I think here we're going to see Tua prove why he beat in 2018, why he beat Justin. God, I can't even think. Jalen Hurts out for the job in college, and he's going to prevail and be the better quarterback here. The stats aren't even close when it comes to Hurts and Tua. Rushing, Swift is going to have a big game, but it's not going to be enough because, I think that they contain A.J. Brown. I think they do a good job of containing A.J. Brown, but I want to see who's going to prevail here, A.J. Brown or Tyreek Hill, as having a monster game, right? I mean, we've seen both of these guys have monster games, but Tyreek's been on a whole nother stratosphere when it comes to, wide receivers. He's almost Hall of Fame-ish numbers for the first 6 weeks of the season, for, those guys you look at who's been inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I won't put that tag on him right now just yet. But here's the thing. Miami wins this game by 10 points or more.
Okay. I mean, they do have more than just A.J. Brown on that team, and there is a Devontae Smith. They did just sign Julio Jones. I know he's done. He's just a name right now at this point. But he is a guy who can still catch the football. He ain't going to break anybody, out
Right.
there in the backfield. But I mean, he still can run routes, and he still got good hands. Look, I think that Miami wins this game as well. I think there is a game plan to win against Miami with Philadelphia, however, and that is you got to bring all the pressure, get pressure onto it early, right? That you talk about, they've been leaning on their defense. This is a game where they'd have to lean on their defense heavily and get pressure and create Tua to make bad decisions in this game, even if you have to, blitz a lot. I feel like that's the situation. But I understand blitzing, that puts you one-on-one against Tyreek or, Devontae. That's a scary situation. Tough to put guys like Darius Slay or Bradbury in that situation.
I agree.
Yeah, I feel like Miami's going to win this game too.
Fair enough.
Sunday is over with. Now we got Monday Night Football. The San Francisco 49ers, who just got their first loss against the Cleveland Browns, going up against the 2-4 Minnesota Vikings.
Feel very bad for Minnesota. This is going to be a game where San Francisco is upset. They're pissed off about losing. Eventually they're going to lose the game, but whoever had to play them the next week has hell to pay. And so they're going to get trounced in this game. It's not going to be close. I think that up front on the offensive side of the ball for San Francisco, they're going to just beat up on Minnesota, and it's going to be a war of attrition, and they're going to win that battle, and it's going to be something to see. And I think that this game is going to be a 20-point blowout, Monday Night Football against the Minnesota Vikings.
Wow. I don't see you pick those kind of numbers very often. I do occasionally. You don't.
Yeah. I'm not going to be conservative on this game. This game is a game where San Fran's pissed off about losing, and they're going to show why they believe they're the best team in football.
You don't think Philly's going to be ticked off?
Philly just doesn't have it. Philly's been winning games, and it's been by the skin of their teeth or fighting back to win football games.
Okay.
San Francisco has been, winning football games, outright winning football games, and the fact that they got beat last week when everyone thought that they should have won the football. They were a better football team. They just did not come to play. Sometimes you need those wake-up games where you've been riding high on your horse. You need to get knocked off real quick. I guarantee this week was intense. It was focused. It was like, all right, Minnesota should not beat us, and we're going to show them why they're a subpar team.
It's going to be tough on Minnesota because I'm more worried about San Francisco's defense against Minnesota's offense. I mean, look, Kirk Cousins is going to be on his heels the entire night. Sure, you got Justin Jefferson out there, but I mean, come on. It's going to be tough to get him the ball when you have half a second to throw it.
Right.
So that's a problem. I'm more of I think San Francisco is going to run a lot of short routes. They're going to run the football a lot. I think they're going to eat a hell of a lot of clock. They're going to have 3 or 4 15-plus play drives that's going to eat 8+ minutes, in that situation. This game's going to be if it went longer than 60 minutes, yes, I feel like it could be a 20-point blowout, but I got them. I'm going to give a score, though. It's going to be a blowout, though. I agree with you on that. 24-10.
Yeah, you're being conservative.
Yeah, that's what I got. I think San Francisco's defense is just going to make life hell, absolute hell for Kirk Cousins in that offense. It's going to be nasty. Well, that's our predictions for this game. We were pretty close on most of them. Had a couple of them we disagreed on. Not as many as last week.
Right.
So that's cool. Any final words about this week? Is there something that maybe you want to just add on to or anything before we get out of here?
No, this is that point in the season where you kind of got, guys banged up and some guys going to have to step up and play big. And we might be off on some of our predictions when we, underestimate some guys that are stepping in for some roles. Hopefully they step up and play well for their respective teams. But, I think this is probably one of the best matches we're going to see between, Miami and Philly. And I'm excited to see it.
Absolutely. Me too. And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Donald Thomas. This was Believe in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. And as usual, have a good one.
Peace.
Do you believe?